Hello, I'm Soumya Menon, Head of Marketing Communications and Content at ConnectAll. I'm so excited today to be on the other side of this virtual interview, joined by one of the leaders in DevOps, Agile, and value stream management. A big, huge welcome to Eric Robertson, ConnectAll's newly appointed SVP Strategic Advisor. Thank you so much for joining me, Eric,
Thank
and
you.
welcome again.
Thank you. It's my privilege.
All right. So one of the questions that I think you've been asked for the past few weeks, and I would ask you again, is a very important question that everybody has been anxious about, which is why did you choose to join Connect, or what about it? What
Mm.
about the company motivated you to take this decision?
Well, I connect all to me. I've been connected to them, ironically, the word connect, through its people, especially Lance Knight, our our COO and president. And he was very laser focused on advancing the company's value stream management initiatives when I met him. And so through that, I've seen opportunities already that ConnectAll has. I have seen already ConnectAll have already impressive growth in the value stream management market, especially around the analysts with Forrester and Gartner. And for me, I saw an opportunity there, especially working with Lance and also connecting with Andrew, this common mindset of where we thought value stream management is going in the market. And so to me, ConnectAll has the people, has that mindset, has that leadership with folks like Lance and Andrew to really drive that. And so that's what I'm excited to do, to work with them on.
Right. That's great to know. Um, you are very well known in the industry for bringing innovation to the table. What would you do differently now with ConnectAll being a strong leader in the value stream management space?
Yes, I think that now that the industry is moving toward more of a digital product oriented thinking, where all people and systems, they contribute to a solution, work together in a value stream, basically a new operating model, right? Companies now are requiring a new operating model for them to really scale their methodologies and really scale and deliver a product more efficiently. And I'm starting to see this notion of teams built around value streams, which could bring business, corporate functions, and IT, as well as implementation and operations together. So what we're talking about now is really defining that value lifecycle, defining what value is, creating it, deliver it, be able to measure it, and be able to sustain it. And I think the uniqueness that we're going to bring to the table here is that a lot of the other vendors in the marketplace, they talk about basically the flow efficiency around DevOps, and not really looking at value. And so business and development leaders, they see value differently, right? Business leaders think in terms of speed and outcomes. Development leaders think in terms of outputs and processes. And there's a disconnect because the C-suite mistakenly focuses on productivity. So really, you need this ability to translate these desired business goals into measurable outcomes. And so business leaders, they have no reliable way to measure that impact of initiatives that they fund. And so this grows into frustration. And so what we're going to look at it from this standpoint is how do we basically take value streams at a more strategic level and look at it to see how the capabilities are needed in order to deliver these value streams and identify the development outcomes and also basically integrate business and development leaders together to identify those right outcomes. So we're going to use this notion of objectives and key results, OKRs, as a common measurement framework that helps identify tangible, measurable outcomes to determine success and align that to value streams. And that's going to be a very unique value proposition for us. And because once we're able to do that, then we're able to monitor the value stream based upon these objectives and results.
Very interesting. Since you spoke about value, one question comes to my mind, which is, uh, is this going to be in some form improving customer experience? I mean, is that the next big thing for value stream management, according to you?
Yeah, so it's very interesting because when you're looking at in the market, folks look at value differently, as I kind of mentioned, right? And it's really customer experience has been one of the major areas as far as focus for a lot of companies right now, because it doesn't really matter if I can deliver a product very quickly, if the consumer cannot, if the experience for that product is not there for the customer, right? So really looking at and measuring and delivering to that customer experience is very key there. And that's again where the measurement of the objectives and the OKRs at the different levels across the teams becomes very critical and very important, and making sure that you're delivering to an optimized customer experience.
Right. So that being said, you've been a part of a lot of VSM discussions, even with ConnectALL before you join us. How critical is value stream management today for businesses? I mean, how seriously should they think about adopting it in some level or the other? I mean, you know.
Yeah. So excellent question. So as I mentioned, companies right now, they are looking at how can they clearly have a new operating model, right? And they need a clear vision and design for a new operating model. And usually this operating model is going to be an agile one, an agile operating model, because a lot of companies are going through transformations right now. So the first, really the first thing that is need to be looked at is value. They need to understand where value is created in their industry and where the company needs to be distinctive, right? So that means they need to define these end-to-end value streams, and they need to identify elements that could benefit from that greater agility, either more dynamic or more stable type of changes within their environment. Which means they also need to look at the overall structure, the overall organization, right? And the grouping of the organization and the teams. So you're going to start seeing much more cross-functional type of teams. And definitely you're going to see more agile teams, right? So you're going to identify teams that define missions that deliver that value streams, right? And so to do that, you're going to have capabilities, right? And you're going to have to outline the requirements on the core processes, the people, and the technology to be able to enable that agility as well. And once you do that, and then they basically are going to implement an approach or develop a high-level roadmap that will allow them to execute on that. And so basically you look at those, identifying the value, structure, creating those teams, having that backbone and structure to deliver onto the roadmap. Those are the critical elements that are going to be part of this operating model. And notice the first one I mentioned is value.
Yes, absolutely. So, how has the pandemic changed the business landscape, and what can companies now do differently?
Yeah, so the pandemic, basically what it showcased is that companies really, when before, they were pretty much really designed and looking at optimizing kind of their internal IT delivery type of processes. And what the pandemic showed is that they needed to adjust to the point that you brought up earlier, is delivering not only to the customer experience internally, but the customer experience externally as well, right? Because, for example, now I used to go to drive to see my doctor, Now it's virtual, virtual interaction, right? That's a new model. That's a new change, which means that the doctor now has to have a new structure as far as from an economic standpoint, from a contract standpoint, from a security standpoint. So it's all these elements within the value chain, all the elements within the value stream that had to change there from that standpoint. You look at what happened to the grocery stores, at least here in the United States, right? People couldn't go to the grocery stores, so they had to rely on delivery services, right? That's a new operating model that stores had to change and had to adapt to, and had to bring in. Basically, all of these operating models, what I'm talking about now is integrations, right? I now have to have tightly integrated systems, tightly integrated processes, and people need to be also integrated to be able to work together more collaborative and more cohesively, right? So that integration is key to delivering that operating model. And that is why ConnectAll, right, is focusing on the integration and how that integration can actually help companies build and deliver these new models.
Right. Very, very valid. Now that you're on board, Eric, what can our customers and the industry expect to see and experience?
Yes. So the first piece that they're really going to experience is really our approach now when connecting and communicating with them. We're going to look at this more holistically with them. We're going to basically start looking at this from a more holistic around really understanding their business and really understanding not just their technical value streams that they use in their DevOps processes to deliver a product, but also really understanding the business as well. Because if we can, as I mentioned first in that first operating model, if we can really understand where the value is created for them, where they see as value, where they themselves need to be distinctive and be more competitive, and if we can understand it and help them identify and deliver these end-to-end value streams and integrate them together into form an end-to-end value stream, that is going to be the uniqueness that we're going to be able to bring to the table to them as well.
We look forward to that as well, and I'm sure our customers will as well. Eric, to close this discussion, we would love to know who Eric Robertson is when he's outside work.
Well, before this interview, I actually had to put my parrot in the closet. I have a parrot, and he likes to be involved in almost everything that I'm doing. I wish I could teach him how to program in Python so he can help pay the bills here. But so I love pets, birds. I have a couple of birds. You may hear some of them in any meetings that you may have with me. You may hear them in the background from that standpoint. I also like to play. I'm an avid board gamer as well. So I like to play board games and also video games. I play video games from time to time as well outside of work.
Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your thoughts, and wishing you great innings with ConnectAll, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you. So happy to be here. Thank you.